All right, for this tips and tricks, we're just going to be talking about shuffling the encounter deck. It says when the encounter deck runs out of cards in the quest phase, you reshuffle it. And then later on in the rulebook, under running out of cards, it says if the encounter deck ever runs out of cards during the quest phase, the encounter deck is shuffled and reset back into the encounter deck. That means if you run out of cards in any other phase of the game, you do not need to shuffle the encounter discard pile back into the encounter deck unless specifically instructed by the quest itself. That can be really helpful if you're engaged with two enemies and there's only one encounter card left. You deal that single card to the enemy with the highest engagement cost, and then the other enemy does not get a shadow card. So that's really wonderful and sometimes extremely helpful. Combat can become math the game with nothing unknown. All right, let's walk into a trap. This is another one of those rite of passage quests. You do not play the Dunland Trap. The Dunland Trap plays you. So if you have not played this quest and you think at some point you will and you don't know how the quest goes, I would ask you to stop watching this video and play the quest and let the experience happen to you. It's an experience all players should have. The Dunland Trap, first time blind. Okay, so let's get into this quest. Quest card 1A, the Road to Tharbad. We're going to set a couple cards out of play. We're going to make the Old South Road the active location, and then we're going to find a Boar Clan enemy, and we're going to put that into play engaged with us, and then we're going to give the encounter deck a shuffle. 1B, 18 quest points. Time 2, you only have 2 time counters. Forced, after the last time counter is removed from this stage, each player discards his hand and draws 2 cards, and then you place 2 time counters back on this stage. Very hard to pay for expensive cards because you only can hold on to it for at most 2 turns. Also, geez, that art is horrific. Let's see what this active location is doing. It's a 1 threat, 4 progress, forced. At the end of the refresh phase, remove 1 time counter from the current quest. So if you don't clear this on turn 1, you will be discarding your hand. Okay, the Boar Clan enemy I chose is the Boar Clan Warrior. He's a 2/3/1/4, and then after I draw any number of cards, he's going to get a shadow card. And that is the theme of this whole quest. Drawing cards is bad. This is a very hard quest, so I'm not messing around. I got Spirit Glorfindel. He's only 5 threat. If I get Light of Valinor on him, he does not exhaust to quest, which means I don't need to raise my threat by 1 when he does, and then he will be ready to attack with 3 attack. I'm also bringing Prince Imrahil. He has a self-readying ability, so that is very powerful. Leadership Aragorn would also be a good choice. So when a character leaves play, Prince Imrahil can ready. So he can quest, and he can attack, and he could defend if needed. Very important to have your heroes doing a lot of work in this quest. Speaking of doing a lot of work, a giant Beorning is helping us out. Beorn is here. He does not exhaust to defend, which is huge. And then the other thing is he attacks for 5. And that kills almost all the enemies. They almost all die if you attack for 5. So having Beorn on the table means I can take out the enemies as they come at me. So throughout this video, I'm going to be laying down a very systematic strategy to take care of this quest. You have to have a plan against this quest. And you already saw my very first part of the plan. So step 1, strong heroes. You absolutely need strong heroes. Heroes that are going to do a lot of the work because you can't count on your cards being in play or staying in play. So my hero lineup can handle turn 1 without me playing a single card, which is very important. Let's get to step 2 of my plan, my deck. My deck is full of very cheap allies. I want to be able to play these allies when I draw them because I cannot hold on to them. I also have some resource acceleration. So you need to be able to just spam the board with whatever you draw and get it into play. I also don't have any items and I don't have any mounts because, as I'm sure you know, those aren't going to stick around. So why put cards in your deck that you know you can't keep? Okay, let's look at this opening hand. Okay, Wealth of Gondor. Choose a Gondor hero, add a resource to that hero's resource pool. That's great, so that gives Imrahil an extra resource on turn 1. He could spend it on the Dunedain Mark, which costs 1 and would give a hero +1 attack, and then you can move it if you want. Aaron Rider, nice cheap ally, lets me move resources around. Beorn's resources aren't going to get spent as fast, so he can move them to buy cards like Light of Valinor, and oh, there's a tactics card, Feint, and then Envoy Peligir. So she costs 2, and then you can put a resource on a Noble or Gondor heroes resource pool. I can't imagine a better hand. This is an absolutely great opening hand. And to be honest, every time I've played this quest, I've gotten opening hands like this. If I don't have Light of Valinor, I take a mulligan. But for the most part, opening hands all tend to be extremely good, like the one you saw here. Alrighty, so let's grab some resources, and we're going to draw a card. I'm going to use my custom tracker, so resources across the top, threat on the bottom there. The card I draw is a Valiant Sacrifice. After an ally leaves play, draw 2 cards. Probably won't be playing that card. Okay, so since I drew a card, that enemy gets a shadow. I'm going to play Wealth of Gondor to give Imrahil 1 more resource. I'm going to spend a resource off of Imrahil and Glorfindel to put the Envoy of Peligir in play. She kicks a resource back to Glorfindel. And then I will play Light of Valinor on Glorfindel. So now he does not exhaust a quest, which is really good, of course. Nothing wrong with that. Let's keep the Tactics resource, because I do have that Feint. I didn't really add a lot of willpower, but that's okay. Turn 1 is always kind of tricky. I am going to play this Errand Rider, so he lets you move resources around by exhausting him. So yeah, there's my Feint. And I'm going to try to clear this active location. If I do, I don't have to remove both time counters. But if I have to remove both time counters, it's not the end of the world. So I am going to send 6 on the quest. I'm up against 0. I got to make 4 progress, 3 threat location. So I'm not going to clear it. While it's the active location, I draw 2 cards in the resource phase instead of 1. Okay, that's nice. So I was short by 1 progress to clear that active location. So I am going to have to remove both time counters at the end of this round, discarding my hand and drawing 2 new cards. Since I'm losing my hand, let's play Feint. So I will Feint this guy. I don't have to take that attack. Wow. Okay. I'm not complaining about those 2 cards leaving. One was the first card that got dealt as a shadow, and then one came out 2 cards later, so that's great. I hate that enemy. And then plenty of attack to kill that guy, so he's dead. So no enemies in play, and no cards in hand, because I just triggered that time counter. So I get to draw 2 cards, and I draw 2 questers, so 2 West Road Travelers. That's nice. This is where the Errand Rider is going to come in hand. Ooh, and I get another Wealth of Gondor. That's nice. I have 3 copies of that card in the deck. So I will give that to Imrahil. Errand Rider is going to move that resource from Imrahil to Glorfy, and then Glorfy's got 2 spirit resources, and I can get some willpower on the table. And that's really the strategy from this point forward until I'm ready to move on and we implement step 3 of my plan. Right now, it's just play allies. Like, it doesn't matter what's going to happen later. Just play the game, put allies in play, and then chump if I can. Okay, so what do I reveal? Off track. Surge attached to a location. Location gets +2 quest points. And then if it's not explored, I got to remove an extra time counter. So that's not great, but it surges into another location, the Hills of Dunland. So I do make 3 progress, which is exactly what I need because that location now has 6 quest points and I only had 3 on there. Okay, so while this thing's in the staging area, after I draw any number of cards, I got to discard a card and see if it's a Dunland enemy. It's bad. So I'm glad to get that out of the staging area. The other one isn't hurting me while it's in staging. So I will travel there. And to travel there, I need to draw a card. And the card I draw is Gandalf. Okay, Mr. Gandalf shows up. And we're going to end the round. So everyone's going to ready. Time counter goes off. More resources. And I get the Rittermark's Finest. I can exhaust and discard it to place 2 progress on a location. So that's my hand. I'm going to be losing these cards this round if I don't get them into play. Looking at my resources, I currently have 5. I think I'm going to just play Gandalf. Spend all my resources and get Gandalf into play. And I'm going to drop my threat. Because that is one way I think this deck could lose, is if I kind of get swarmed by enemies and I can't pick and choose who I'm engaging. So Gandalf drops my threat by 5. I'm up against 3. And I reveal another Hills of Dunland. Okay, no problem. So I do quest for enough to clear the active location. And enough spills over that I actually get to place progress on the quest. So I make 4 out of the 18 that I'm going to need to do. And then let's travel to that copy of Hills of Dunland I just revealed. And we're going to draw a card to travel there. It's another Gandalf. A lot of duplicates. Everything's like duplicating. And later on in the video, I'm going to show you how I shuffle off camera. I do a YouTube shuffle for you guys to see, but I do a really big shuffle before we start playing. Okay, so I have to draw 2 cards. I get Elrond's Council and a Squire of the Citadel. That's nice. Let's collect some resources. I get another Squire. Everything's doubled up. It's really crazy. And I forget to put the time counters back on, so I will be doing that momentarily. So I'm going to play the Squire. When he leaves play, you add a resource to a Gondor Heroes pool. So like I said earlier in the video, resource acceleration is really key for this quest because you need to try to spam out as much stuff as you can as quickly as you can. And resources, of course, help with that. Alright, so let's commit to the quest after I did some resource rearranging with the Aaron Rider. I got some chump blockers in now. Ooh, and we get the Boar Clan Stalker. So he gets +1 attack and defense up to 4 anytime the engaged player draws a card. So he can ramp up if you can't kill him. Alright, there I am remembering my 2 time counters. Let's travel to this location. I'm going to be drawing an extra card now in the resource phase. Let's engage this guy. I think I'll have Beorn defend. He gets a shadow card, of course. He's currently attacking for 0. And then the shadow says +1, +2 if defending character is undamaged. Well, Beorn was defending that, so he is undamaged. Now he's going to take some damage. He's going to take 1. And then Beorn, by himself, can kill this guy because he has no defense. But Glorfindel was also ready to help kill. So I'm doing a very good job of keeping the enemies in check. Every time I've been engaged with one, I've killed it that same round. And that's what you got to do. That is step 3. Keep the enemies from swarming you. Keep killing everybody. When you feel like it's time to advance to stage 2, you should have as few of enemies in play as possible. Okay, beginning of this turn, I get to draw 2 cards, another Wealth of Gondor, and ooh, one of the Mall Santas. Okay, I get one of the brothers. So I'm going to be able to afford him using Aaron Rider. So I gave myself a resource of that Wealth of Gondor. Aaron Rider's going to kick Beorn's resource over to Imrahil, and Imrahil's going to put Fili into play. So when Fili enters play from your hand, you get to go find Kili. So let's give the deck a shuffle. So my board state is looking excellent. This is really, really good. Lots of characters that can take damage, that can chump block. I have no cards in hand, so I'm doing a great job of always playing the cards I'm drawing, and I'm not just discarding them at the end of 2 turns. And now let's start trying to make some willpower on this quest. It's time to start making our move. So I'm sending a lot of willpower, and we get Surge, Wild Men of Dunland, attached to the current quest. Anytime I draw any number of cards, I got to deal a damage to somebody. Okay? And then this Surge is attached to a location, +2 quest points. And if I don't clear that location, I have to remove 2 time counters. And that surged into a Dunland Berserker. So this is the guy who has a shadow effect that makes an additional attack, but his own text box says, well, he's engaged with you. If you draw a card, he attacks you. Okay, there I am showing that that location had 2 extra quest points. So I had just enough to clear it. We're going to engage the Berserker. I'm going to chump this one. So the Squire is going to jump in front. Yeah, there's that shadow. Attacking enemy makes an additional attack. Okay, so the Squire is dead. So thank you, Mr. Squire. I do get a resource for that, though. And then I'm going to have the other Squire jump in front of the additional attack. So he gets a shadow and no shadow on that attack. That Squire is also dead, giving me another resource. And then it just takes 5 to kill him, so Beorn can do that. And we're going to have the last time counter go off. I have no cards in hand to discard. We reset the time counter to 2. I get to draw 2 cards when I do that. Envoy of Peligir and a very good tail. Okay, perfect. Time to implement step 4. Step 4 is when I think I'm going to be able to advance in 2 turns. So I have 2 turns to try to advance to stage 2. I'm not spending any resources. So that's what I'm doing right now. I'm collecting all my resources. I'm drawing my card. Kili, that's great. I'm really glad. He's going to be able to come into play later because I'm going to be losing the copy I currently have. So time to implement step 4. Don't spend any of your resources when you think you're going to advance within 2 turns. So I drew those cards. I have 3 cards in hand, and I have lots of resources, and I'm just going to commit very hard to the quest. I don't think it's possible for me to clear it. No, I'm only sending 10. I need 18. Then I remembered this condition attachment was there, so someone should have taken a damage. I'm definitely going to damage an ally because these guys are going to be leaving play. So let's put damage on one of the dwarves. And we get, okay, the Boar Clan Warrior. It's 2 threat, so I make a lot of progress. I make 8. Putting me at 12 out of 18. So I should be able to advance next turn, which is absolutely perfect. That's exactly what I want to be doing. And then, like I said, keep killing the enemies. So I'm going to engage this guy. I'm going to chump block. I think I'll have the Aaron Rider jump in front of that one. I'm not going to be needing him. +1, +2 if undefended or undamaged. So the Aaron Rider's dead. That would ready Imrahil, but Bjorn by himself can kill this guy. Okay, so everything's going great. I have lots of resources. I'm going to be drawing my 4th card. And again, I'm not spending anything. And I have hardly any damage on the board. I have no enemies. This is exactly where you want to be when you're getting ready to go to stage 2. All right, committing everybody to the quest that has willpower. And we get, when revealed, each player draws a card. This guy gets +1 threat for anytime you draw a card. So he makes you draw a card right now, which is really good. I'm really glad. I want to draw a card. Vassal of the Windlord. Okay. Just a 1-cost tactics ally I can get into play. So now I'm just checking my math. Do I make enough to advance? I do. So because I drew a card, I place the damage on the Envoy of Peligir. It's okay that she dies right now. I don't need her willpower. That readies Imrahil. And we make enough progress to get out of stage 1, and we are heading into stage 2 and fall into a well-laid trap. All right, 2A, make Munev Duv Ravine the active location, returning any previous active location to the staging area. Then we have to discard each item and each mount attachment we control, and then we choose 1 ally, and we discard all other allies. Wow. All right, 2B, a well-laid trap. When revealed, we're going to search the encounter deck and discard pile for a Boar Clan enemy, put it in play engaged with us. We're going to shuffle the encounter deck. Then we're going to shuffle our discard pile into our draw deck, and then we're going to draw a card. And then at the end of the combat phase, advance to stage 3A. So here's the trap, but we've been preparing for it. We have lots of resources and lots of cards in hand. We should be able to rebuild our board state very quickly. Okay, the next step in our plan is I keep whichever ally quests the best. So in this case, it's a West Road Traveler, so I'll be keeping her even though she's exhausted. If Imrahil hadn't already readied, he definitely would have now. And now I'm going to shuffle in my deck, and I'm going to show you how I do my shuffle. I always do this off camera before I start recording. So I make 6 piles with the cards, and I deal out 6 like that. And then I randomly grab the piles and put them back together. So that is how I shuffle the encounter deck, and that is also how I shuffle the player card deck. And then once the camera starts rolling, I give them each one more quick shuffle. Okay, so we do get to draw a card, and we draw Elrond's Council. And then this is now our active location, so it's going to boost all the enemies' attack and defense by 1. I'm going to choose the Boar Clan Stalker. So he'll have 1 token on him because I was supposed to draw my card after I already picked my enemy. And then the Dunland enemy up in the staging area should also have an extra threat on him. Okay, I am not going to engage that enemy. That is the next step in the plan. Do not engage any enemies from the staging area at this point unless you have to. If your threat makes you engage them, of course engage them. But anything else, leave up there in staging. All right, so let's take this attack. He is attacking for 2. 1 from the location, 1 from that card I drew, which was Elrond's Council. I can defend with Imrahil or Bjorn. I'll defend with Bjorn and no shadow. So Bjorn takes a couple damage. This is the importance of having really powerful heroes in play. You want your heroes to not be near death, so hopefully you've been chump blocking this whole time. Heroes that can ready themselves are very important right now. Okay, so now we advance to 3A because at the end of combat, you're supposed to advance. 3A is No Way Out, and we add Chief Turk in play. He's engaged with us. We have time X, where X is 5 times the number of players, so that's 5. If a hero is destroyed, we lose. All right, forced. After the last time counter is removed from this stage, the players make engagement checks. Then, each engaged enemy makes an attack. If no heroes were destroyed by these attacks, the players win the game. Okay, so it looks like we have to go 5 rounds, but let's look at Chief Turk. Chief Turk, Dunland Boar Clan 3535, cannot have attachments, cannot leave play, engages the first player. After an enemy engages a player, remove 1 time counter. So that's why you leave enemies up in staging if at all possible. Okay, so let's add the 5 time counters, and we're going to hopefully be able to engage a couple enemies and not have to spend 5 rounds. We're going to be spending maybe 3. So he's hitting really hard, so this is where you can hope to throw some chump blockers in. But look at all these resources. So this is the final step of the plan on how we're going to win. We have saved at least 3 rounds worth of resources, and we have at least 6 cards in hand. So that should mean we can just immediately blow our board state right back up and just fill it full of allies, and we can handle this last stage no problem. So that is the full plan, and it looks like I was able to pull it off, and we should get a victory here soon. So let's just spend all the money that I can on all the cards that I can and try to get as many allies in play as possible. So I already put in Keely and Feely. Now I'm going to put in an envoy of Peligir. She costs 2, and then I can kick a resource over somewhere else. I'll give that to Glorfy. Now I'll play my first copy of A Very Good Tale, trying to decide who I should exhaust. All my allies that I could get in play cost 2 or 1, and then Gandalf costs 5. So I guess I will do 5 here, and we'll see what we get, and then maybe I'll do A Very Good Tale next turn. I really just want 2 allies. And we get Arwen. Okay, she'd be great. Oh, Gandalf. Okay, great. Dang it. Okay, he's no good. Aaron Rider would be good. Snowborn Scout would be good. All right, so I got 5 allies. 1 I can't pick. I think I'm going to go with Gandalf, though. Gandalf seems like the smart one. I'll have him draw me 3 cards. Gandalf seems smart because I have that second A Very Good Tale that I can use at the end of the round. Okay, cool. And he draws me 2 allies. So it worked out. I ended up being able to get 3 allies in play, basically, because of that Very Good Tale. And that's all I'm trying to do, is get a bunch of allies on the board. There's Riddermark's Finest to help me clear a location. And look at that. I went from 1 ally to all these allies. I even have an eagle coming flying in. That's the very next turn after being down to 1 ally. I did that. So the strategy obviously works, and we should be able to make it through these last few combats. No problem. All right, so all I got to do is quest for enough to clear this active location. I don't need to make any progress on the quest. I played Elrond's Council. I'm going to send all my characters, including Imrahil. I'm leaving a bunch of little wimpy dudes up. And the card we get is another one of these Dunland tribesmen. And I know I'm doing a terrible job of keeping up with what these guys actually have for threat. So when they enter play, they make you draw a card. And I think the first guy should have 4 threat on him. I forgot about that 1 card draw I did. But it doesn't matter. Even with an extra threat, I still made enough progress to clear that active location. So the Dunlands are no longer getting boosted. Dunlings? Dunlanders? Dunlandish? I don't know. I don't know how to say their name if I'm talking about them in that sense. Okay, so I'm going to engage 1, and that lets me remove a time counter thanks to Chief Turk's ability. And then they're both attacking for a lot, 4 and 5. So I'm going to chump with the Squire against the Chief, and he's going to make an additional attack. Okay, that's mean. So the Squire's dead. He's going to give a resource to Imrahil. There we go. And he's going to attack again. So I need to chump another time. So I will chump with the Aaron Rider. And he gets +1, deal him another shadow card. And then +1, +3 if undefended. Yikes. Okay, so definitely lost the Aaron Rider. Imrahil is ready. I'm going to remember that in a second here. We have at least 1 more attack to worry about. Beorn's going to take this one. +1 for each shadow card. So Beorn's going to take 4 damage for that. Thank you, Beorn. And then Bjorn, in an absolute fit of rage, is going to destroy that guy. There's no point in attacking the chief because he cannot leave play. So let's advance the round. We remove another time counter, leaving me 2 time counters. So if I engage an enemy and we go to the end of the round, I'll have 1. During the refresh phase, I am going to use that very good tale. I'm going to use Gandalf and any ally. It doesn't really matter. So I will use one of the dwarves, give the deck a shuffle. And I'm hoping the story that he tells involves 2 allies. I don't care which 2 allies. I just want to get 2 allies in play. The last very good tale had 5 allies. So let's see. Very good tale. There's an ally. Nope. 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 Oh, that story sucked. You're a terrible storyteller. Stupid squire of the citadel. Oh, please, sir, I have money to give you when I die. I'm a squire. Stupid story. All right, next round. Still have plenty of resources. We're going to draw a card, and I should be adding... There we go. I remembered a threat to that tribesman. And then I'm just going to play this Aaron Rider, I suppose. Get another chump blocker in. All right, and let's give Glorfindel +1 attack. What the heck? I have 1 card left in hand. So I could, in theory, send nobody on the quest. My threat is fine, but I'll still just try to cover any threat that comes out so I don't raise it. And then I only have to engage 1 enemy, hopefully. And the card we get is Frenzied Attack. I draw a card, and then I discard each ally from my hand. Ah, dang. Okay, I shouldn't have played that ally. Well, maybe I'll get an ally here. Nope, Elrond's Council. Okay, so that should have boosted that Dunling up in staging. Okay, so since I can't discard an ally, it surges into another Frenzied Attack. Maybe this will be an ally. Nope, definitely not. Okay, so that surges into, there we go, the plains of the Edenwath. And I quested successfully. I can travel there. I can engage this enemy, which will remove a time counter. And let's just handle some combat. So highest engagement cost enemy gets the first shadow. Let's chump with that Aaron Rider. And his shadow is nothing. Okay, my Aaron Rider is dead. That readies Prince Imrahil. And now let's chump against the next guy. And he gets nothing as well. I hate that card. So glad I didn't see it this whole game. He's going to add a resource to Prince Imrahil. And then let's swing back. So to kill that tribesman, I need to attack for 5. Glorfie's 4. The envoy is 1. That's enough. And then I can't kill Chief Turk, but just for the funsies, I want to add 8. I want to attack for 8. I want to deal the damage to him. So I do that, and then let's, just because we can, let's exhaust the Riddermark's Finest and get rid of that location. So I have completely cleared the board. I've even done all the damage I could to Chief Turk. Now all we have to do is remove the final time counter here at the end of the round. I believe it's the end of the refresh phase. Oh, what the heck. Yeah, Elrond's Council. Let's drop the threat even more. All right. So now all we have to do is survive 1 round of combat here at the end. You're supposed to do each enemy engage a few attacks you after you do engagement checks. So we will get attacked. I'm going to chump 1 more time with the Envoy of Peligir, +1 for each shadow. She's dead. We survived. That's the Dunland Trap. Not too bad. Not too bad if you plan for it. Just have a way to get a bunch of cards into play right after you get to stage 3. All right, everybody. Take care. Hope you enjoyed that one. Bye-bye.